Hi, everyone. I'm Elaine Wayne, the co-founder and CEO of Metropolis. Metropolis helps global citizens to then be more free and mobile in the world while conducting international business. Because these days, let's be honest, the world is bigger than just your country of birth. And we definitely want to make the world more connected by working with different countries and providing immigration programs and other business opportunities for global citizens. Here with us, we have the very famous Ramon Garcia from the Philippines. Ramon here is the executive chairman of D&M, a publicly listed company in the Philippines, one of the largest one. And if you have been to the Philippines in the custom border in the airport, all of that biometrics is what they made too. That's just one of the many business he does. He's a very successful businessman, also come from the capital market and deal with a lot of different intricate policies in the Philippines and worldwide. He's also the current ambassador of the Philippines to Portugal and also wears multiple hats there. Most importantly, he is the one that brings Elon Musk to the Philippines and then brought Starlink to the Philippines. And so that Philippines is the first country that has the entire country nationwide under Starlink, collaborating with Elon Musk. So I will leave this to Ramon. Ramon, tell us about yourself. You are such a magician in everything you do.
Well, such a wonderful introduction, Elaine, and obviously it's a pleasure interacting with Metropolis. It's a very well-trusted and known entity, but I do have some points of correction.
Ooh.
I'm the honorary consul of Portugal to Manila.
I see.
My authority actually emanates from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Portugal to Manila, to the Philippines.
Okay.
It's the other way around.
The other way around. Oh,
but,
my God.
it is something that I like to do. As you know, it's bridging between two cultures. So since I've been the honorary consul, I've been able to arrange about 4 joint ventures already, help clear the pork policy between Portugal and the Philippines. And the Philippines has benefited now from the ability to be able to secure their food security when Portugal turned over the technology on how to combat the African swine flu, which had driven up inflation on the food industry. Secondly, I loved your description of our group, but we are definitely one of the larger IT companies, but there are many large conglomerates in the Philippines who I'd like to call friends as some of those owners. But it is very close to my heart as a businessman, as someone who likes to try to assist in policy, national policy for the Philippines, that the most important aspect is choice. That's part of the reason that I had reached out together with our legislators during the period of COVID to the group of Elon Musk. And that resulted in the Philippines being the first country in Southeast Asia to have Starlink services. With that, the Philippines had to actually change its law. And, this important aspect of the Philippines being so adaptable to looking at the realities of its people, the reality of looking of global needs, that's the same thing that we're trying to do in global mobility. So if it's good for Elon Musk and the Philippines, it's probably good for other businessmen also.
Definitely, yes. Wow. And also, not only that, Elon Musk also tweeted now X himself too about this collaboration.
He did. It was the first day it was approved. We were surprised to see it on X or Twitter at that time. Thank you, Philippines. So it was very nice, and obviously he's found himself in a very elevated role now. But to Filipinos, the entry of Starlink has now enabled much more business, much more acceleration. Because if you want to put up a hotel, you're a vlogger, you're a podcast, your education, your disaster recovery, your logistics, the fact that the Philippines now has fast and pervasive internet throughout our seas and land. If a businessman, you're going to love the fact that the Philippines, 7,600 islands, you can do business almost anywhere.
It's incredible. And I've been to Philippines so many times. Philippines is like so dearly in my heart. I'm a Pacific Islander myself. I love islands. And Philippines is also like the most beautiful island in the world, really. More than 7,000 islands everywhere. And I'm so impressed by the kind of a collaboration you can bring in to really enable and then improve the life of the Filipino, and also open the door for global citizens to participate in this ecosystem. This is also one thing I think Philippines is very uniquely advantageous, especially compared to other Asian countries in the region, because Philippines is very global, very accepting, and also English speaking, right?
Very much so.
Yes. And I also know that Filipinos doesn't have any racism language in the culture. It's just a very open place. So that being said, with your curiosities on technology, business, and policy making, could you tell us a little more about what your company DFNN and what does it do and different subsidiary? I know there's iWave, iWorld Research, a group.
Well, I wanted to tap on how you led into the conversation,
Yes.
Elaine. And here's a really important part. If there's any country that first talked about global mobility,
Yes.
probably it's Chinese and the Filipinos. Let me tell you, there is no American railroad without Chinese and Filipino workers that had gone to California.
That's true.
Today, your hospitals around the world are Filipinos. If you go on a cruise, a Disney line, you'll find there's a Filipino. You go to the hotel industry, there's a Filipino.
Yes.
You go to Singapore, you see the lawyers. You go to Saudi Arabia, you'll see the engineering and construction workers. So the first people who really believed in global mobility is Filipinos. So that's 15 million people overseas. So we know what it's like and what's important to people to have a choice. Now, the other thing that you said that really struck me, and I think there should have some more elaboration on that, is the fact that language actually defines a culture. Right?
Yes.
And although we are one of the largest English-speaking countries in the world, we are also have our own national language. But what's peculiar about national language in the Philippines is the Filipinos are actually from everywhere else. So a reverse global mobility. So you're either Chinese Filipino, Malay Filipino, British Filipino. The original Filipinos are what you call Aetas or natives. So technically, since the Filipinos, even before those migrated into the Philippines, the first
Right.
ones who took advantage of the investment visa in
Yeah.
terms of finding a new place they call home were the people who migrated to the Philippines. But this gave us a uniqueness in our language. And in our language, there is no derogatory term for a foreigner because we're all originally foreigners. So that's unique. Throughout Asia, within the language, there's always farang, guaylo,
Yes.
gaijin. But the
Right.
Philippines does not have a negative term for a foreigner. That should show you how welcoming we are. Now, my businesses are, although my family was in chemicals and so forth, I split away. So my businesses are your proverbial garage company. I started with a 3-man operation. I did the cabling myself. And with my background as a governor of the Philippine Stock Exchange, I became a member of the exchange at 23, was elected to the board at 27, both being the youngest at that time.
Yes.
I chaired the computerization committee. I helped with other chairmen of the former and after me successive chairman to unify that platform from an open outcry. I chaired the listing committee. The idea was, why can't Filipinos do this technology in the country? And that's the start of my company. And yes, as you rightly said, we do produce technologies, integrate technologies from things such as the largest platform by volume and by value of online trading in the Philippines. We have systems with various government agencies, such as our pension fund. And yes, we do have biometrics for airports. We work with a company called Amadeus. They have 750 employees in the Philippines. But when you look at your ticket, that's Amadeus. So you're looking at all of these businesses that are choosing the Philippines as their home. And as you know, BPOs, it's about a $32 billion industry a year. So there is a growth story between Indonesia and the Philippines, which by any metric has been forecast by the likes of Goldman Sachs. So Indonesia will be in the top 10, being number 4. The Philippines will be in the top 12 and surpassing many European countries. And if we talk about Taiwan at maybe, let's just say 28 million people, the Philippines will soon have 150 million people. So that's 5 Taiwans. Or let me tell you, the equivalent of Norway, Finland, Denmark, and Sweden combined, and 5 times of that.
Right.
Or 5 Australias or 5 Canadas. So there's a lot of opportunity. So, I'm excited to have more visits from you and from more friends of Metropolis.
Oh, thank you for saying that. Yes, I am so excited and also very honored to be working with you and Philippines on this project. And as I am a digital nomad myself, I travel the world, but then I settle here because this is really one of the most beautiful place and also most welcoming place for a global citizen like me. And also I have a background in medicine, so I know exactly what you talk about. I work in Stanford Hospital for many years, and all the best nurses and nurse practitioners all come from Philippines. Philippines actually taught us in USA on how to do medicine. So with all those big influx and outflux and movement of the people, I can imagine like the finance structure in the Philippines is so super mature to support that kind of a global transaction. And the Philippines must have a really mature ecosystem and framework to support international businessmen.
I think so. I think there's been a rapid change in the last 20 years, right?
Yeah.
In the Philippines. We used to be called the sick man of Asia, but sick man of Asia no more, right?
Right.
I think when anybody lands in BGC, goes to Nuvali, goes to Cebu, you'll see infrastructure that's on par, if not better than even places like Singapore or Tokyo. At the same time, if you want to decouple, you can go to the various islands, the smiles will meet you. Many of those doctors, as you say, that you work in Stanford, many Filipinos have actually graduated from Stanford and returned to the Philippines. Medical tourism is also quite good in the Philippines. I don't know the last time I went to an American hospital where you have a grand piano in the lobby, or in, not to say that, the Philippines is the best of all, but it's quite good. The medical treatment that you get, it's also quite reasonable. But that's the beauty of global mobility, right? You can choose the best of various countries. The Philippines obviously presents itself as a opportunity. Recently, the law was amended under the Freeport area of Bataan, and to give you the equivalent of Bataan as a province, which is also basically a free port, very much like Singapore or Hong Kong. It's about 5 or 6 Singapores together, right? So in terms of landmass. So it's an interesting area to look at. It will connect through the greater Metro Manila area, which is about, imagine a greater metropolitan area, just like London, Greater London, or Greater New York, or Greater Tokyo. Metro Manila has 32 million people.
That's way bigger than New York.
So that's bigger than most countries, right?
Yes, that's bigger than most countries.
So the Philippines is now building a bridge, which is the longest span in Asia for 37 kilometers, crossing across Manila Bay. The Philippines is the second largest investor in airports after South Korea. So there's a quiet party and economic party that's happening there. But thanks to people like Metropolis, people are realizing that now. And again, this FIV, or the investment visa is part of the investment promotion. It's there so that as you invest in the Freeport area of Bataan through the various mechanisms, there is no mandatory reason to stay there, but they've said, we welcome you at any time with no minimum stay requirements, but we believe that we will capture your hearts. So I think that's an important aspect of the Philippines. It is an investment visa with a heart.
Yes, yes. So Freeport area of Bataan, FAB, it's a special economic zone or special administrative region outside of a greater metropolitan area of Manila. Like you said, that they will be connected very soon through a bridge. So you can actually literally from the center of Manila to get to FAB in like 40 minutes.
40 minutes,
Yeah.
that's right. And you'll have completed the circle. In Bataan, they're now building 6-lane highways.
Yeah.
Across Manila Bay, they're building a brand new yacht club, building a Millionaires Road. So
Right.
there's a lot of opportunity for investment. In tech, it's a center for blockchain, digital assets,
Yes.
cryptocurrency. So the Philippines is one of those very favorable countries, both looking outward from a regulatory basis, very much like a BPO or a free port, as well as a sandbox within the country. So I think for any businessman, it's very nice to look at this aspect. And,
Yeah.
and again, you may have a portfolio, you may have a visa perhaps like in Portugal, which I'm aware of, and then you dovetail it here. For me, the best is if you're a businessman, you always want choices. And the Philippines does present a fantastic choice.
Definitely, for anybody who wants to get into business in Asia, first thing is you want to look for a country that's welcoming, a country that speaks English, a country that is very mature and has a great experience dealing with international business, especially on finance flow. And 3, like Bataan, I've been there. It's such a pristine, beautiful place. And FAB is set up right there just so that you can attract the most cutting edge technology, business international to come there to create a new city, almost like a new city, the new modern city to be the hub of Southeast Asia or the entire East Asia, in my opinion. I went to Singapore last year, and I went to the Singapore Philippine Business Investment Summit. With a delegate of Philippines and to meet with a delegate of Singapore. I had the honor to be there in the audience, sitting in one of the small table. And I heard people on the stage saying that people want to invest in Philippines to make Philippines the next Singapore, basically the hub for the Asia or the world. So with that being said, what is like the bigger vision of FAB? Is that a fair description for me?
I think that's very fair. In fact, I wanted to even get to the minute because, Philippines and Singapore have very close ties, right? So it's very interesting where my Singaporean friends, obviously you can't outwow them with the skyscrapers, which we have as well, right?
Yeah.
But they said, you know what, when we go to the Philippines, we really have fun. So that's an important part, whether it's diving, whether it's surfing. And what they've learned is the Filipino businessmen and friends they've made have become friends for life. So this is an important aspect. As you get old, you always want to have and avoid loneliness. And this is what people have repeatedly told me. When you have friends in the Philippines, you really have friends until you die. So that's the important part. Now, when you go to places like FAB is one of the many economic zones the Philippines has. So the largest number of economic zones in the world are China. Believe it or not, the second largest is the Philippines. But the difference between FAB is obviously its proximity to Metro Manila.
Right.
So you have almost a whole different GDP from the rest of the country. And on one side, you're facing Manila Bay. You've got a power surplus in Bataan. You've got a forward-looking government with a leadership that's looking maybe 25 years, planning very much what the future will hold and building it before it comes. On the other side, you've got one of the best-rated golf courses in Anbaya. You've got the beaches. So sometimes I joke around, if you do put a factory there, you might have a problem on productivity because you have to look for your workers on the beaches or looking at the wonderful sunsets that you have in the Philippines.
Yes.
But again, to a businessman, to a family that just wants a second choice, to someone that perhaps whose country may be under stress. Throughout
Taiwan.
history, the Philippines has always been a safe haven and a sanctuary. Whether you're White Russians before, you're Jews during World War II, the recent Syrians, the Vietnamese people when Vietnam was not as successful as it is today. And the Philippines has friendly relationships with all these countries. So as a hub, it's only 3 hours to Osaka, 4 hours to Tokyo, 1 hour, 45 minutes to Taipei or Hong Kong, 3 hours to KL, 3 hours to Singapore, 4.5, 5 hours to Jakarta. You're really at the center there. So in many ways, as we build out our airport infrastructure, I know some people today, they actually live in Hong Kong for work Every weekend, they fly home to places like Iloilo Airport, which has direct flights to Hong Kong.
Oh.
I know Singaporeans, they work in Singapore. They fly to Davao
Right.
for, the weekend. And our schools, if you look at places,
good. Yes.
look at International School Manila. You look at British School Manila. You look at Ateneo and so forth. Many of them have gone on to upper echelon universities, well known, whether it's National University of Singapore, Tsinghua University in China, Oxford in the UK, Cambridge, London School of Economics, Stanford, Harvard, MIT. So there is something to be said that because our language is in English, global knowledge transfers easily. So it's a great place.
It is indeed a great place. Both of us are Stanford graduates, so
That's
we
right.
can definitely attest to good education. We know how it is like, and Philippines definitely has it. It has been really popular right now for a lot of Taiwanese family to send their children to Philippines to study.
Yes.
Because you get really, really good English education, right? To one of the best international schools in the entire region here. And also, you get exposed to all kinds of people. You have more inclusive and you are exposed to diversity. So it's just such a wonderful place to live in with friendliness to international business and also affordable and really high quality healthcare. And also not as crazy of inflation as compared to, say, New York City and West Europe.
That's right. That's
yeah,
right.
so affordable lifestyle, affordable cost, and then really good education, really good healthcare, and really the best up-and-coming economy in Southeast Asia. It sounds like a perfect place. So I guess how can international people participate and move in there? I guess to the FIB program you just mentioned.
That's right. But if I always say everything is perfect, people are going to say it may not be true. So
Okay.
be prepared for the heavy traffic in places like Cebu, Tarlac, Manila,
True.
very much like Jakarta or Bangkok, right? So it's a little bit of stress. But when you go on a weekend and you just want to go to an island, scuba diving, to a farm, get a massage, just so you have this work-play balance.
Right.
And the Philippines is also very pet-friendly. As you know, I'm in the tech industry, and people in the tech industry love bringing their pets to work and so forth. So we're a very permissive society. They really don't have a lot of prejudices. So it's quite good. So take advantage of it. And again, to your point, the Philippines has become a genuine melting pot. So if you go walk down Fort Bonifacio, you'll hear so many different languages of people who quietly, through, believe it or not, YouTube, through Metropolis, through
Yes.
social media, Instagram, suddenly recognize there is this place that is Asia, but it's also tied to the West.
Totally. Yeah. So exactly how I feel. You framed it perfectly. So then I want to talk a little bit more about this FIV program. FIV stands for FAB, Investor Visa, that Metropolis had the honor to be working with in partnership with you and your company, DSMN and iWay specifically, and FAB to make this happen. And we only want to bring like the best and the most friendly people who are genuinely curious about Philippines and want to contribute to the ecosystem and do business there, or want to make this one of your hubs as you move across the globe. Because there are a lot of international digital nomad like me who has more than one place in the world that I like to call home, and Philippines is one of them. And if you want to do that, you can also do that through this program with no minimum stay requirements. And the investment you make is going to make huge impact to this very amazing zone, FAB, through collaboration with you and your endorsement for this program. I'm sure that everybody from the world can be, you're in good hands. We have a lot of clients come to it, and then they were really impressed by your team.
Yeah.
So,
for those of you who have seen the website, who probably see YouTube, I do want to caution you.
yes.
There are people who will try to emulate. There are people who are there. But remember, this is a different country. iWave is a subsidiary of a publicly listed Filipino firm. And I am telling you that Metropolis is fully legitimate. And the reason that we want to tell you this is, one of our applicants, he's a German personality.
Yes.
I think Elaine will have him on an interview as well soon. He's willing to give a testimony. He just believed in the red carpet treatment from the moment he was there, how everything was explained to him. He was picked up at the airport. No one has ever seen an investor promotion visa that has been processed in 4 days.
Nobody.
So the experience was fantastic for him. And this is precisely what FAB and the other economic zones in the Philippines or our investment promotion agencies want to do, is showcase how the Philippines can actually compete, can be a place for you to be a choice when you want. And the important part here is he said, you know, I looked, it was too good to be true. This must be a scam. Yes. I mean, he'll probably say it on his interview, but then after he went through the program, and this is what the Philippines want, his experience was so good, he now wants to start up other businesses in the Philippines. He's a logistics company from Germany. He does rental properties. So he found that in the few days he was in the Philippines, people were genuine. And again, we're happy to come out with that, try us. But again, importantly, no matter where you go in the world, you know, when you have a good thing, there will be a lot of people who will ride onto it. So I want to let you know, Metropolis is the real thing.
Thank you.
We do work with them. And again, experience it for yourself. Remember, these are your investment funds, right? You have choices. But now on a global level, the Philippines should be part of your portfolio.
Oh, thank you for saying that. Yes, Metropolis is very honored to be working with you, your company, and FAP to bring quality people to the ecosystem. That German client has already left a testimonial. You can see the video on our website, philippinesfiv.com. It's philippinesfiv.com. You can subscribe our video, subscribe to our X and other social media platform. And most importantly, book a consultation call on philippinesfiv.com if you want to talk to us. And you will be surprised how amazing this program is and as of now, and then how up and coming this beautiful country of Philippines is. And
I think what's important is, again, I have to be fair so that people understand.
Yes.
I think if you look at Europe now, they had this policy of open door. Now they're realizing that perhaps they should have vetted some of the people that are coming in. So again, please forgive the Philippines if we do ask you for background checks, compliance issues. It's because we want quality people. And we want our investors to be with quality people. So while the Philippines is a sanctuary, we want it to be a sanctuary for good people, people that you can deal with and people that you can trust. And I guess by dealing with people like Metropolis, iWave, and trusted partners, right? They can guide you through the whole process, make it a little bit less bureaucratic. But once it's done, trust me, you'll have a very, very wonderful time in the Philippines, an easy way, and always beyond the initial engagement, you'll always have a listening ear to reach out. Our group operates call centers 24/7 in the Philippines. We service a number of government agencies. Again, we're publicly listed, so we're very cautious about the people that we process. But again, if you're able to do that, you're legitimate, you want to do legitimate business, you want to find new friends to expand your businesses, please consider the FIV. Please reach out to Metropolis, and they are our partners in this endeavor. And we look forward to seeing you in the Philippines very soon.
Oh, thank you, Ramon. Yes, if you are a FIV resident, that means you've been approved. Congratulations. You are the special one. And we definitely want to help your international business grow through Philippines, and also welcome your family to be moving to this amazing, beautiful country, or to retire here, or anything, really. This is just a beautiful country for you to contribute.
And I think there is one thing that we have had a lot of questions on, Elaine.
Yes.
And the question is, does the Philippines provide a pathway to passport?
Oh, yes.
And 100% depends on how you process it, but we have 3 modalities for people to acquire passport.
Yes.
It's by marriage, by legislative action, or be a resident, stay in the Philippines, very much like I think Spain requires the same thing. 10 years, show how you've contributed. And yes, you can naturalize to become a Filipino. So there is actually a pathway as well. It's not so well known. So I thought maybe I'll remind Elaine that we have been asked this question.
Yes.
And there are some encumbrances when you're a foreigner. You're not allowed to own land. But if you eventually feel this is the place for you, you've spent 10 years, you've contributed to the country. Welcome to the Philippines.
Yes, there are indeed 3 ways to become a citizen through naturalizations. One is, like you said, you get a residence visa to FIV and you stay in Philippines. You hold the visa for 10 years. You stay in the Philippines for more than half of the time. Then you can apply to naturalize to Philippine citizens. Philippines is the only country in East Asia here that allow dual citizenship for a foreigner. So you don't need to give out your original passport. So you can easily make this your home.
I think there are refinements to that. I know there was a Department of Justice ruling.
Yeah.
So the countries that are allowed that are what we call the Ibero-American Latin countries. So obviously if you're Spain, from Portugal, I guess those South Americas, by an extension of that, you do have that privilege. So for example, if a Filipino had become a Portuguese citizen through their own means of legal migration or to Portugal, you do not need to surrender your passport. This was a ruling after the examination of the Constitution of the Philippines and the Constitution of those countries. And we respect that. So, you know, even for Filipinos who themselves believe in global mobility, we ourselves are choosing to have multiple choices in life.
Yeah.
So why can't you?
Yes, exactly. And then another way to get naturalization citizenship is that if you hold an investor visa for 5 years, I saw this in the law. If you hold it for 5 years, stay in the Philippines for more than half of the time, and if you contribute significantly to the country of Philippines, because we really want to encourage people to contribute, to be a good citizen, to really like bring impact to the country. So if you contribute, like, you know, if you invent a cutting edge technology, register patent in the Philippines, introduce a new business, teach in a public school for more than a year, and so on and so forth. You won an Olympic and all that, and then you can qualify to get the citizenship in an expedited fashion. If you want to learn more, you can book a consultation call and talk to us.
And I have personally seen that done.
Oh.
I've seen Chinese, I've seen Australians, I've seen Americans, and recently just Google the Russian ballet dancer and a Russian figure skater as well. Now, there was one Russian ballet dancer in the past. So there is legal precedent. So don't believe what other people say that there's no pathway. Again, may I remind you that many Filipinos have come from other countries to settle in the Philippines. We want more well-talented and well-meaning people to join our population and our country. So again, I hope I've covered everything, Elaine. Did I miss anything there?
Yes, you covered everything. Yeah, so we are so excited to have learned so much about the Philippines, the FAB, the FIV, investor visa, and especially about you, your passion, your expertise, and what you envision this beautiful country of Philippines to become. So Ramon, thank you very much for your time today. And I look forward to our continuing collaboration and bring more quality people to make Philippines a much bigger ecosystem.
Well, thank you very much, Elaine. And obviously, this is not a single man issue. It's people I work with, the government. We'd like to thank the president, the administration, our legislators, our senators, and all the policymakers who really have unified to say and look at the Philippines to say, how can we improve ourselves because we're competing on a global market? So we thank you for giving the Philippines a perspective and the time. And again, we welcome you and your friends and your network to the Philippines.
Yes, of course, I'll bring, all my friends there. So, well, thank you for your time.
谢谢你。
谢谢. I'm Elaine Wang. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Metropolis. And we are the partners.
Chulai.
We're the partners with Ramon and FAV in the Philippines on this program, FIV. So, yes, tune in and then subscribe and then book a consultation call on philippinesfiv.com. And subscribe to our newsletter. We'll send regular updates and stories about the Philippines. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.